Matt, let's get into WrestleMania. It's 9 hours long. We're going to try and knock it out in 9 minutes.
Three cheeses and meat. Naomi and Lana versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Riot Squad and Natalya and Tamina going at it in tag team turmoil.
I love turmoil. That's why this match is for me.
And then,
more turmoil.
This is, unfortunately, is what I asked for, Mike, is for night 1 to lead into night 2 matches. I just didn't picture it being them saying, hey, you know you know those tag titles we made? We don't need a storyline for that. Just, we'll announce it on Monday. They'll watch it. They'll tune in. I'm pretty disappointed that this could have been built up to be huge, and it's really just thrown together. And it's another showing of disrespect to this women's division on the main roster. But if it makes you feel any better, the men's tag team division will be ignored largely at WrestleMania by SmackDown instead. Yeah. So I'll throw out there. I think, Mike, you know what? Let's do it. Natalya and Tamina, just load it up. Let's give them a tag title shot. They've been getting a lot of gramming going, and Natalya, just give her a title.
Come on,
just do it.
Come on. I just, Matt, that's so funny when you look at these women outside of the Riot Squad. Most of them have tag teamed with each other at some point. I'm pretty sure Natalya has tag teamed with, obviously right now, Tamina, Lana at some point, Dana Brooke at some point, Naomi at some point, and probably maybe Mandy Rose. And Mandy is definitely tagged with Lana at some point, Naomi at some point. And Dana, she's like the younger daddy. She's been with she's had a cup of coffee with all of them, I'm pretty sure. So I think this, Matt, I do not want to be a performer in this match outside of the Riot Squad, because I think there's going to be a lot of confusion when you reach over to, oh, you're not my tag team partner this month. Hold on there. Here we go. Then you go to the right corner. It's almost going to be like that Christmas in the Office. You got to write down your partner on your arm.
You know what it's going to be, Mike?
What?
It's going to be Tag Team Turmoil.
That's why it's got the name. Who's on your team? I don't know. Matt, it's an embarrassment if the Riot Squad goes another year without tag team titles. This is the only tag team in this whole match. I'm so sick of it. I bought my beautiful Ruby Riot t-shirt and I never get to wear it because she never wins. I'm so tired of this. Make this the year.
If you go through that list, like Naomi, I think needs a title. I do think Dana Brooke needs something at some point, because they never gave her a character. They forgot to load that in there. So, title for her at some point. And she does good work in the ring. It's good. It's not clumsy. It's pretty smooth. All right.
I still like her entrance too, where she kind of does it. She stopped doing it. Now she does kind of a flex with Mandy, and they look at each other. Yeah, that spin kick was pretty cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A huge match on the card, just for fun, because it was like, Kevin Owens, we forgot to book you this year. Let's do a rehate. We're gonna put it in the microwave. You and Sami Zayn, you in? And this is probably gonna be one of the best matches of the whole weekend. And they just slapped it together. So. Yeah, they slapped it together in 5 minutes. I mean,
what's funny, Mike? I'm taking a look at this card, top to bottom. Like, seeing the competitors in the ring, it's a pretty goddamn good card. I listened to someone earlier today that doesn't watch wrestling as often as we do, and they said this is one of the worst WrestleMania cards they've ever seen. So clearly this WrestleMania card is not meant for the casual viewer. This is meant for the hardcore WWE fan, I think, because I'm a huge fan that this exists, and I'm all in on KO and Sami Zayn. I wore this just to support that. I think this has that match of the year potential. Mike, by the way, worst hoodies in sports entertainment. This thing doesn't zip up, and it never did. My KO hoodie. Kevin, if you're listening, you hook up sick kids all the time. It's really sweet, but my zipper doesn't zip, and I would really like that. Mike, Intercontinental Championship. Oh, I'm going to go Sami Zayn. Let's give Sami a win, right? I think Kevin Owens would say, yeah, I will absolutely lay down for my boy Sami.
Yeah, my only beef with this match is I like when they throw each other through things, and we're probably not going to see that. This is a sanctioned match.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Sami win, but I don't think Sami cares about winning ever again. So I think Kevin Owens is going over here. Man, maybe of the match, I would say easily as a wrestling fan, the hardest one to pick. Big E defending the Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. I don't know what that's going to entail exactly, but I love this Apollo Crews Nigerian character. I think Big E loves Apollo Crews' Nigerian drum character. I think a lot of us are starting to get in on this character, where we don't dislike him because he's Nigerian. We dislike him because he hit Big E in the head with steel stairs, and we love Big E.
Yeah.
So it's nice that, embracing your heritage, that's not why you're a heel. Just a fun note here as Peacock continues to don't mind our dust as we sweep out some of the racist things in the histories of WWE here. But yeah, Apollo is he's just Nigerian, but he's also a dick, and we hate him because he's a dick. It's not because he's Nigerian. But I like this angle, and if at some point this means that Apollo Crews holds a belt and Big E moves on to bigger and better things, i.e., the big championships, WWE or Universal, this just sounds like a dream come true.
Yeah, and this to me, I think has been big meaty men slapping meat, which you and I are huge fans of, and of course Big E is too. Yeah. So I think this is something that Big E wants as well. Like as the Intercontinental Champion, as you go through your reign, like he wants to see matches like this. I think ultimately too, anytime we can get Big E off that title, it gets him closer into the main event, and we get him either a WWE Championship or a Universal title, and I'm cool with that too. So that's kind of where my head's at all times with Big E is how quickly can he lose that Intercontinental title and be elevated. Mike, another great one on the card that this should be just a great match is Cesaro and Seth Rollins. So this is when the night turns into a 4-hour night, and you don't mind because that means they gave time to this match. If it's a 2.5-hour night, that means they gave this match about 10 minutes, which is not enough for these two super duper stars.
Yeah.
But Cesaro's got to go over, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the loudest suits in the room against Pepperoni Man. So I'm very excited.
Pepperoni nips.
Yep. I'm very excited to see where this goes. Seth Rollins is no stranger to early in the card, nothing matches. Was it WrestleMania 31 when he took that incredible RKO in the daylight, jumping off of Randy's leg and then getting mashed into the ground.
Yep.
So yeah, I think he would happily do that for Cesaro in this case. He's a dad now. He's won his championships. He just wants to wear loud suits and peacock his way around the ring, so to speak. I think he wants to give Cesaro the rub here. I think Rollins and Daniel Bryan and people like that are like, let's get the big guy out there. Let's give him one for the Gipper, huh?
Yeah.
So Matt, I'm picking Cesaro. This is going to be his WrestleMania moment.
It's got to be him for the same reasons. I think ultimately, good gravy. You just cross your fingers on what happens next, and they don't just go, "Hey, Cesaro, we're going to give you a United States Championship match."
Hey!
No, come on. We've got one of these years. Let's put him in a main event.
One of these years. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Speaking of the United States Championship, Mike, we've got Matt Riddle and Sheamus.
Matt, some of these matches, it's not that you want to pick the winner or break it down. Sometimes it's what we like to play difficult question. Matt, difficult question. I think undoubtedly one of the more colorful entrances we're about to see, Matt, is Matt effing Riddle at WrestleMania. Is a live bird gonna fly out of his butthole, Matt? Is an NBC peacock gonna come out of Matt Riddle's butthole?
Well, all they have to do is when that does happen is have him go, I forgot that was there. I'm sorry. Like that, they can roll that into his character at any time now. I wouldn't mind, like, if they really want to take this to the next level, like have like a couple of fake birds fly him from that huge boat that they have out on the entrance ramp, and have that carry him and his scooter right to the middle of the ring. They've got the money. That's actually probably cheaper than a bunch of fireworks. Honestly, it's just a zip line with a couple of paper mache birds on either side. Do that. Like, that would be hilarious. And it would go to that level of like that grungy feel that we all like from our buddy that gets high, but he made like Flash videos in high school. Like, they never really looked great, but they were kind of funny. Like, that would be that level. I want crappy paper mache birds on either side. I don't want good looking birds.
I don't mind if this match ends up looking like a Job Bluth magic show with just birds falling out of pockets all the way down the ramp for 60 feet. But it does feel like this card should be a little bit more WrestleMania-er. So that's why it's kind of like, well, why isn't I don't have off the top of my head a good sidekick for Sheamus to walk down with. But Matt, is there any reason that RVD and Matt Riddle can't
coexist? Can they coexist?
Share something green down the aisle, something like that.
I think really what you're saying is that the Hall of Fame will most certainly be wrapping up their recap session, and RVD and Matt Riddle are going to walk into each other. I think we just produced those two segments back to back successfully. I think that's a dunk.
If there's a joint to be lit, I think Kane's got that covered.
Oh, nice.
Nice, yeah. But Matt, are you picking Mr. Riddle to win his first ever WrestleMania match?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going down the line here of Sheamus has had his moments, and as mean as he's been on Monday Night Raw, I think everybody gets it. Like with Riddle, like he's a goofus, but he's not mean spirited. He's just, he's just kind of not.
He's a goofus.
All there. Yeah, he's a goofus. All right. So, Mike, we got a couple of goofuses in the next match. What's funny is what I was referencing earlier of listening to a podcast of somebody who does not watch wrestling and said this was a terrible card. Would you like to know? This was
their favorite match?
This is one of the matches that they were excited about. So that tells me everything. That's why this exists. It's not for us. They're also old, so they didn't know what Bad Bunny meant. So that's also not for us or for them. Yeah. But yeah, this Shane McMahon match in a steel cage against Braun Strowman is for the fan who barely watches but is aware that pro wrestling and WrestleMania is pro wrestling exists and that WrestleMania is this weekend. Mike, for us, for the hardcore fan, this means so little to me. I think the writing for this has been absolutely terrible. I don't think it's funny that Shane McMahon just calls him an idiot, and Shane does not like this either. I can tell in his delivery. All of it, I just want it done.
Yeah, I think it was our buddy, Mr. Warren Hayes, who said the storyline for the Braun Shane match, for it to be Braun getting bullied, is a really hard sell. And I couldn't agree more. But, Matt, I'm just going to back off on the seriousness of how much we love professional wrestling and just say that, you know what? For 10 minutes, we're going to watch. Hopefully Shane is dressed all in white, because I want him to look like that block of snow that the Snowpiercer train blows over in the Bong Joon-ho classic Snowpiercer. Yeah. And then I'm going to get to watch, the owner's son fall off a, large piece of steel and crash and burn. So don't look at it as a wrestling match. Just look at it as you get to see a rich guy fall off a cage and, look really injured. So you got that going for you.
That's what I think. We're all just waiting for that. So the transition would be like the other match that isn't for us, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, which again, I'm not quite sure what people see in Damian Priest still, versus the Miz and Morrison, two of the best heels in the biz, probably more Miz than Morrison.
Hey, ho, ho.
Morrison has fun. That's right. Hopefully we'll be on Botchamania. I sent that video I made as many times as I could over to Matthew. So we'll keep the
hopefully
crossed.
It takes a second. You know what I want to say about this match is, the Miz and Morrison, they're gonna get you over. They're fantastic at their job. But I gotta say that this whole event is a failure because the only thing we got over was Bad Bunny. And we already know that Bad Bunny's over because he's like the leading Spotify download of all time. So he's fine. He didn't need a rub. But Damian Priest needed the rub. And it feels like the actual wrestler that we called up, he's the one who got lost in the shuffle, not the, 5'9", 140-pound, rapper, singer guy. It's stunning that the Bad Bunny, the Miz, and Morrison, the whole point of getting this together was Priest. He's an afterthought. Yeah. He's an afterthought in his own ascension. Yeah.
How about we don't put Bad Bunny in a singles match?
Oops. So I think Bad Bunny, he's arguably up there with Pat McAfee from, my God, where did this guy come from? And all of a sudden, he's like one of the most important parts of the show. So you can't hate him for that. I'm not going to get mad at a guy for making a buck. Good for him. But just weird on the production team to be like, oh, man, the fourth most important person is Damian Priest. Oh, well, you're top four. All right. But yeah, Bad Bunny's going.
You're top four. Same here. I still, like, maybe this will be those moments where Damian Priest gets sold on me. But Mike, you said it earlier. I mean, I'm the guy who's watched every NXT episode, live for the point of our podcast. I've watched every Damian Priest match that's been on TV or on TakeOver. He's not bad. He's just not interesting. I will, like, to this day, I still don't get it. I don't know if I'm missing something. Somebody, please.
I mean, we tried. Listen, Damian, we gave you sunglasses. We gave you a fire entrance. We gave you a tabernacle choir. We gave you a hot dog. We gave you Bad Bunny. We gave you the Miz and Morrison. All right. What do you got? And, maybe he'll, really have a sparkler flying out of his ass this weekend. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But right now, he's the fourth most interesting guy in that match. Matt, here's another one. I think the second hardest for me to pick because there's so much love for me in this match. Matt, it's the Raw Women's Champion. Asuka, arguably one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, just happens to also have a hilarious Twitch channel. A YouTube channel and Twitter feed where she photoshops herself into her favorite Simpsons scenes when she's not wrestling. Going up against Matt, the young up-and-comer, arguably the greatest female bumper of all time. Matt, I would be shocked to find out in her history she wasn't trained by Mr. Ziggler herself. But Matt, at some point, we got to strap the rocket to her. And if there's one thing we know about WWE, they likes to see Asuka going down at WrestleMania. You're going down, Asuka. So, Matt, is this it? Because Ripley, her first real call-up match, does she become champion?
I kind of don't want it to happen. And I tweeted this out this past week where I was like, I'd want it if they gave this more time. But I don't like that Rhea gets inserted by her just announcing she's the number one contender and then she's going to win. Because it feels like it, like, God, I sent you that video earlier today that, what's his face? Did you watch it on Twitter? No? Vince
Russo. Yeah, I did watch that. Yeah.
He made me all self-conscious about being an adult who watches pro wrestling. So you get into these moments where you talk. He just blatantly keeps calling it fake fighting because I think he's just mad at the business at this point.
That they won't rehire him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but like. I guess where my head's at is taking it outside of the wrestling and bringing it into like respecting one of the best wrestlers on the planet, who would be Asuka, and just having it be like, well, somebody's got to take the title away from her. Like that. Like that's pretty much what's going on if Rhea wins this match, right? Like it's like we got to fit somebody into that main event role that's not Asuka. And I just wish there was more time like allotted or like we put in more effort into writing the story of Asuka losing her title reign. I guess that's where my head's at, and that's why I want her to keep it. I don't mind her losing it. Just put more effort into it, put a better story behind it, and give more meaning to Rhea winning it besides her just going, that's me. We couldn't coexist in a tag team match, and now we're going to go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast, we're huge fans of Rhea Ripley. There's no question about it. Like you said, like Bianca Belair, she's going to get her chance. She's almost assuredly going to defeat Sasha Banks, and it's going to feel deserved because she had this whole build-up over the fall. She won the Royal Rumble. She's planted herself as a top entity over on SmackDown. And Rhea, like you said, this feels like a last-minute replacement. It feels like something went awry with Charlotte and Asuka were probably going to battle and let Asuka probably get her revenge victory over Charlotte. And they're like, "Fuck, oh, she's out." Well, I guess we'll call Rhea up then and see what happens. And if Ripley wins, I think you're so right. It won't quite have that punch of, man, she finally ascended the mountain, Yeah. I think that's a spot where maybe Asuka will maybe have to turn heel a little bit to try and help this match out. It's just so tough because she's so damn lovable. But yeah, if Rhea wins, nobody's going to be upset. But I think the more exciting thing is, somebody chasing and probably keeping Asuka as the champion and let Rhea kind of, earn that moment instead of just declaring the moment, which is actually something Asuka mentioned in a promo recently. Your confidence is not earned. So I would book Asuka to win and let Rhea kind of build herself up. But it would be a hell of a resume already for Rhea to have Charlotte and Asuka, in WrestleMania matches. Go ahead. I was going to say, I was going to move on to the next match, if that's okay. That's fine. The only match that will probably not be a wrestling match, it's going to be the Fiend and Randy Orton here. It's Burn face Bray comes out, and we saw what he did with John Cena, and it was one of the most beautiful art masterpieces on this show, that we've ever seen. Combining all sorts of different medias, combining the character development and evolution and growth and rise and fall of Jonathan Cena as he was portrayed as a rapper, the next Hulk Hogan, a muscle man, a bully, an afterthought to a Bella sister. Man, so many different chapters that the Fiend took us through in the John Cena greatest hits, debacle that eventually did kind of end in a chokehold. It kind of ended in a mandible claw, but that wasn't the point. It was the story. Man, God, please let us do the same for Randy.
But can it live up to it? Won't you only be left with disappointment because it won't be anything? It won't. There's no way that it's going to reach the same level. And part of the reason we love that John Cena Fiend match was because we didn't see, like, we weren't going to be able to predict that. That's my fear. I think I want something better than what we got with Cena last year, but I just don't know if that's possible. I
have a lot of confidence in Bray. I have a lot of confidence in what Randy Orton has done with this storyline. It seems like he's excited to be a part of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I have a lot of confidence in Randy, like what he's put into this Bray Wyatt storyline. It's been years now. And I mean, Randy's had so many, nefarious twists and turns over the history of his career that I think they're really going to be able to, if they do it right, they're really going to be able to, show you some scary images of what we've allowed Randy to do and still wrestle for the company, kayfabe wise. And it smells like Bray is actually going to have quite a few unpaid parking tickets and receipts for Randy to answer to. This has been a long time coming for Randy. I think we're really going to be in for a treat. It won't be as good as that first time, right? But I have pretty high confidence in this being satisfying for us.
Well, the next thing on the card, Mike, I'm more excited for it than I think most people are. But AJ Styles and Omos going up against the New Day for the tag team championships. If they give them the time, Mike, I mean, this should be a banger. We know the New Day can run with anyone, but now we're talking about one of the greatest. I'm never gonna put this asterisk on there because it gets thrown out to everybody else. One of the greatest male pro wrestlers of all time, AJ Styles. No, I'm kidding. One of the greatest pro wrestlers. It's easy of all time in AJ Styles. So this should be a banger, and I think we're going to tell a good story for Omos too, for him finally getting involved. And this, it's not going to hurt to take away the titles from the New Day. This is something they've won a lot of them. Their game should be to lose them just so they can keep winning them. I think for the New Day, that they're a team that should be in the record books for most reigns of all time, kind of thing. And AJ, look at what's going on with the other title pictures. I'm okay with him not being in the main event. So this gives us an opportunity to watch AJ Styles wrestle, do something we haven't seen him do a ton of, and we get to see Omos too. And there's a lot of hate going around for this. I don't understand it, that AJ Styles just inserts himself into the tag team division, but this is exciting. I'm all for it.
It is AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I think
today in 20 years.
I think the most interesting thing about this is that, wow, Omos's first match ever for WWE is going to be at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the pre-show. It's not going to be it's not going to be a one-on-one squash. But he's going up against arguably one of the 5 best tag teams WWE's ever created on their own. They didn't adopt, Dudley's, or it's not one of those scenarios. This is a team they built and created in the New Day. This is one of their babies. And then they're going to have AJ Styles, who they treat like the greatest wrestler on the planet. That's usually his character going into a storyline. So those 3 guys with a tag team championship on the line are going to hold Omos's hand through this match and make this guy look like the most unstoppable giant you've ever seen. My interest is so piqued at this match. I'm astounded that they've glued AJ and Omos together. This was not a short-lived, combination. We're getting you over with me. So I'm kind of curious to see if what AJ saw in this giant man, and what the WWE as a whole said. Wow. Okay, we're not going to have him just go out there and smush one of our luchadors. We're going to have him beat the crap out of Xavier Woods and former champion Kofi Kingston, and he's going to tag team with AJ Styles. Like this, the way that the brass up top are just saying, we're going all in with Omos. I'm so excited to see if he can actually fight, Matt. I think there's going to be a collective thundering around, the earth as people are falling out of their chairs watching Omos perform. I'm just this match has me the most curious. As far as debuts, guys coming out of nowhere. What are we going to see from Omos, Matt? This is a hell of an endorsement by this company on this guy. If you don't have any other thoughts, we can move on. I'm so curious on this one because we have the SmackDown Women's Championship I don't think there's any doubt about the final outcome here. It's Sasha versus Bianca.
Should be Bianca. Absolutely. And there's no denying that this is going to be a banger. It's just, I think just it's how we're going to get there is going to be the fun part, because we know we go into every movie knowing that the good guys are going to win, except for that one Avengers movie. And, you know, I don't think we're going to need a part 2. I think this is going to be it. And Bianca's going to go over.
Yeah, that's why this is a harder one to talk about, because it feels like this is one of the few storylines in this entire card where it feels like we've kind of, we've mapped out, point A all the way to the, point Z for the end of this story. And we're going to be at point Z. And it doesn't make me bummed out that we have a pretty good idea what's going to happen. It feels earned. It feels Asuka earned. Very excited for Bianca to have her moment.
Yeah, I think I'll just say it kind of feels like we get into that trouble with the Royal Rumble winner every year. That like it's kind of like the Money in the Bank kind of thing. Like they probably should win if they get the Money in the Bank. The conversion rate is pretty high. That's kind of like you don't want to diminish the importance of winning that, and I think that goes along those lines too. But our championship match without a Royal Rumble winner is the WWE Championship match. Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre going at it. Mike, the more of the story they tell, and getting Baron Corbin involved, who just gets go away heat like nobody's business. Like you got to believe that they actually want us to cheer for Drew McIntyre, even though everyone and their mother is all in on Bobby Lashley. We want to see him have a long reign. It just looks like the story is not headed in that direction. And I love Drew McIntyre. I just don't know. Again, like it feels like they want to give him that moment that he missed out on last year. First things first, nobody's owed that moment. The long and short of it right there. I don't know where Drew McIntyre, what he's done for it to be like, well, like, and I only say this in response to the wrestling fan idea of what's going to happen here is that he's owed this moment. But I just don't know what Drew would have done compared to any other wrestler on the planet where they're like, no, we're having fans. We're going to cause a bunch of COVID, we're going to cause a jump in the numbers to have 25,000 people at WrestleMania just so Drew McIntyre can have fans for his championship win. I don't know what he did for them to do that, but I also don't think that's the case. But I just now I'm starting to ramble. I think Drew's going to win. I hope that Bobby Lashley does.
I would say that there's a couple matches where it was really hard to pick the winner. Biggie, Apollo, Asuka, Rhea, and this is right up there too. I think that it's difficult to pick because I don't know what direction WWE's going in, especially after they are seemingly disbanding the Hurt Business. Saying that Bobby can go on his own. So I think if they give it to Drew, they're making a mistake. I think it's too soon to, cut ties on the Bobby Lashley championship reign. But I do think to keep Drew strong, this is when I would pull the trigger and have Keith Lee and Ricochet join the Hurt Business. And then, the parts will be just as exciting as the sum, where I think with the previous members with Shelton, who's, it's his second time coming and, he's just not as, charismatic as Ricochet and Keith Lee. It happens. And same thing with Cedric. They're both excellent workers, but it's not as exciting, as seeing Keith Lee and Ricochet join. Are they both going to join in one night? Storyline wise, that would really be juggling some plates. But I just think if you're going to go with Bobby, I think you can go ahead and feel okay to throw in a little bit of a schmaz to still keep Drew looking strong, because he should look strong leaving this match.
Absolutely. Now I've got all the wheels turning, like Brock Lesnar showing up and costing the match for Drew or something like that.
CM Punk coming out. No, not CM Punk.
No, CM Punk all the way. He's joining the Hurt Business.
No, he's going to join Pinnacle probably. Jesus.
No, it'll be Parker Bordeaux. He'll be the new.
Oh my God, Matt! Don't give him any ideas. All right, edit that out of the show. All right,
last match.
Last match.
And we can go to bed.
Let's do it.
Universal Championship match, Mike. Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. Just give it to Edge. I mean, he says it all the time. How much longer does he have in the ring? We don't know. It's like I've said it the last couple of weeks. I feel like Daniel Bryan got mixed in there to make things easier for Roman Reigns to lose the title. But I also think there's an element of Edge and Daniel wanting to get in the ring together. I think that that idea of them being in, like when Roman gets knocked out and the two of them are in the ring together, that is truly a special moment at WrestleMania. Like two guys that were supposed to be done, and science has caught up with pro wrestling and gone beyond it. So a testament to science, a testament to technology will be these two facing off, which is incredible. It's something that we used to see in movies. That was a joke of seeing a guy that was like half machine, prolonging a career of some sort. But this is so much better than that because these guys aren't machine. They're still mostly man. It's going to be two men going at it. But yeah, that ultimately, I think they'll just give Edge his moment before it's too late, before something goes in the wrong direction. I kind of agree with that take that Edge delivers on a weekly basis. Yeah.
I don't know if God, what was it? Just like 3 years ago, you would have had a guy with leukemia, a guy with a broken neck, and another guy with a broken neck. And hey, we're going to have all these guys main event in WrestleMania 37. Like, what? Get the hell out of here.
Right.
I think easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Daniel Bryan's in there to take a 3-second tan for Edge. This is another one where I got to think one of these championship matches is going to be a little schmazzy for the men. Where Roman, it feels like it would take such a, just Thor flying down from the heavens with Mjolnir, to take him out of the game, and not have him, pinning somebody for victory. Mm-hmm. So I think that's maybe where we'd see the Usos finally reunite and be like, you know what, screw this, and kick Roman right in the face, something like that. Because it would take that kind of monumental effort. Plus, Roman obviously not taking a pin when he loses his championship. But I mean, if it's not to Edge, if it's not to the Royal Rumble winner, if it's not to a guy returning from a broken neck, I don't know if I see him ever losing it. He might just, we might just bury it with him, like an Egyptian king. There's nobody who's going to take it from him. So I got to think there's going to be some Uso shenanigans. There's going to be Daniel Bryan eating a pin for Edge. It's going to take a lot to get it off of the head of the table, but I would honestly be, there's 0% chance of Daniel winning. Probably like an 80% chance of Edge, and then Roman, I'm going to give him 20.
All right. I'll give Dan. Dan's going to get 10.
That's a big number, Matt.
I'll give Roman 30, and
can I give you 1,000 to 1 odds on that 10 to 1? On that 10 to 90?
So, yeah, if I bet $1,
you bet $1, and I'll bet 1,000, 10,000. That Daniel Bryan doesn't win.
Yeah, I'll take that bet. No problem.
Okay, done. It'll go to Addie's college, and then that $1 will go into a taco that I'll turn into poop.
100. I got that bet. We'll we'll do a PayPal or Venmo live on the next episode.
Yep. Watch me throw up real blood. It's going to be fantastic.
We do have to figure out another date and time for the next episode, or we might have to go late into the night again, because Mike, you and I will be recording with Mr. Darren McCarty a week from now.
Woo!
Thursday at 8:00. So if you guys are Red Wings fans, go check that out. I'm pretty stoked for it. This is a guy that's meant a lot to my life as a human being, like growing up.
He does real fighting. Well, he used to, but
yeah. So yeah, we'll probably announce if you guys are listening, if you for the next live show. Doesn't look like anybody's watching right now, but that's fine. Find us at BOD Podcast and brothers_of_discussion on Instagram. And if you are listening to the podcast, you want to see the visuals of our beautiful faces, go out over to YouTube and subscribe. We've got extra content that goes up there that does not go on the podcast, so you guys want to check that out. And yeah, I think that's it. Mike, you ready to sail off and go to bed?
Yeah, it's time for bedding. Bye. Matt, make sure you edit this tomorrow. Don't do that tonight.
We got to do it tonight. We got the web page ready to go.
Oh no! All right, well let's sail off into the sunset. Get ready for a whole weekend of wrestling.
Toodaloo.
Bye.